What is up, good people? You're watching Brudsy Entertainment. So I'm going to touch on this actually. An amazing interview with John Terry and Simon Jordan. I remember when this racism row thing happened with John Terry, and I felt that John Terry handled it really wrong because obviously I didn't have all the information. No one had the information. It's all kept quiet. From my understanding, was John Terry was pleading like we quite clearly know what happened. We all saw it. What he mimed and what he said to Anton. We quite clearly saw it. Heat of the moment kind of thing. And I felt the way he dealt with it, with the courts and everything, I felt was really spineless. And I did have a lot of, not hatred, but I felt John Terry dealt with the situation really wrong there, sort of. Lo and behold, he does this interview with Simon Jordan, and he actually did try to do what I thought he should have done. Let's watch the interview really quickly and see.
To make contact with Anton that evening after the game. I tried to make contact with Rio and their agent after the game, and I basically got shut down instantly from all of them. So that I think I knew Anton, we were mates, and I wasn't socially, but we knew each other. We always got on well. Obviously, got on well with Rio. We could have done something that was probably more powerful than what come about in the end, and that's probably my disappointment, because it's in the game. Clearly in the stadiums and all of that now, that we need to get out for sure. We could have done something very powerful as a group of players, not only us, but everybody else, I think, at the time. And since then, I've tried to speak to Rio, who doesn't want to talk to me at all. I've seen him on the beach in Dubai and refused to speak to me.
Now, you see, if you ask me now, John Terry's done the right thing. He's not an out and out, like, deep rooted racist. He said a racist comment in the heat of the moment, and he was man enough. I didn't know at the time, but he was man enough to say, look, heat of the moment thing, I'm not racist. I just said it. I was angry. We're in a football game, heated moment, shit gets said. And I'm gonna defend. I'm gonna sound like one of those people, but I'm gonna defend white people here sometimes. Heat of the moment things happen. Black people do it, white people do it, but when white people do it, it's always a lot worse. I don't know how it works, but it's always a lot worse. We're all human beings. We all get angry. Anyone that's played a passionate game of football, shit gets said sometimes by everyone. And the guy was man enough to sit down with John. He wanted to sit down with Anton and say, look, fuck it, shit happens. I'm sorry, I said something. It sounded like he wanted to say that. That was the manly thing to do, and that would have solved a lot more problems. Because I remember during this situation, it created a whole load of problems. Like Chelsea fans were coming out saying, blah blah blah. He didn't do anything wrong. John Terry wanted to. I think if they would have come together like John Terry wanted, and just been like, it would have set a much better. It would have sent a much better message to the fans. What we're all trying to achieve. Trying to keep racism out of football and stuff, and out of society. But like Rio and Anton, it does seem like they just sort of. I think they dealt with it in the worst way. I understand something gets said to you. Racism has been like who hasn't had racism said to them? Everyone has in one way or another. I've had shit said to me, but shit happens in heat of the moment, and it's not people that say something in the heat of the moment and then say sorry straight away. They're not the ones that you have to worry about. The real racists are the ones that actually want to commit harm, or they're hiding their racism, and to sort of whatever agenda that they have, they don't want to give a black person a job. That's real racism for me, or they want to cause harm to someone of any sort of color, black, white, Asian, whatever, but heat of the moment stuff gets said, and I don't think we should just sort of tar everyone with the racist brush just because they've said something. Obviously, if you're going around saying shit all the time, not showing any sort of interest in changing your perspective in life, then obviously that's totally different. But someone that just said, like, for this instance in football, anyone that's played football knows it's so passionate. The heat of the moment, things get said. Everyone has said something in their minds, at one point in time. I can't even tell you what I've said in my time, but I'm saying everyone has said stuff. So we shouldn't hold people to this. We shouldn't just keep them in that corner. No, you're racist, blah, blah, blah. I'm never talking to you again. If you ask me, that's a baby way of dealing with it. Even as a Man United fan, I would say Rio, Like if he offered you his hand straight away that night to say sorry or whatever, I think you should have took his hand. And I think you should have took his hand. Man up, shit gets said. He obviously is not a clinical racist. Can you trust him with your wife? No, but but you know what I mean. But yeah, but shout out to John Terry because that's big respect. I've got a lot of respect for John Terry for that now. Because I thought like what we all saw was that he was just going through the courts and nah, I didn't do it. I like not guilty, not guilty, not guilty. This could have been dealt with a handshake, and I think respect to John Terry. So yeah, I never thought I'd say that, but yeah, respect to John Terry, Rio, Anton. Man up, man. Unless you can honestly put your hand up and say I've never said anything bad in my life in the heat of the moment, then he without sin cast the first stone, as a wise man once said. Brad's Entertainment, guys. I'm very interested to hear what everyone has to say. I appreciate all the likes and all the views and all the love that I'm getting. Peace.